We've got some probably not too shocking news that has come out with an old school classic crypto that is coming back to light with the SEC going after them, and that is Safemoon. Everyone should remember that name. And Coffeezilla did a video kind of talking about them, exposing them. And when he did that video, I believe they threatened to sue him or go after him for him calling them kind of a scam and fraud. And here we are, just a year or two later, them being arrested for being frauds. So it's crazy to see that, usually if someone is threatening to sue somebody else, typically that other person is probably onto something or on the right path. So maybe that's something we can take away from this. But the SEC today charged the founders of SafeMoon. You can see they put out this tweet here saying, "Today we charged Safemoon LLC, its creator Kyle Nagy, and Safemoon US LLC, and the company's CEO John Crony, Chief Technology Officer Thomas Smith, for perpetuating a massive fraudulent scheme through the unregistered sale of the crypto asset security Safemoon." So they got the top guys in charge. If you probably know the name John Crony, because that's the guy that Coffeezilla, I think he interviewed him and went after him and kind of talked about him a lot because he was one of the biggest guys behind this Safemoon thing. And what's even crazier is that we should take from this that you cannot trust celebrities to do financial advice or give or talk about finance at all, because we had so many people involved in this Safemoon thing that were celebrities or internet celebrities. When you had people like Jake Paul and Dave Portnoy, both of them supported Safemoon, tweeted and talked about it, probably got paid pretty well for their efforts of doing that. I think Keemstar even did it a bit, and you had rappers who were doing it. It literally everyone was doing this thing, which pushed Safemoon to like multi-billion-dollar market cap, which was insane, and made the founders here very rich. They actually rug pulled it, and they made a lot of money from this. So in the SEC thing here too, we can see that they also go on to talk about, or this little like quote here. They have saying decentralized finance claims to deliver transparency, predictable outcomes, but unregistered offerings lack the disclosure and accountability that the law demands, and they attract fraudsters like Kyle Nagy, who uses these vulnerabilities to enrich themselves at the expense of others. Now, will this set a precedent or something where if they go after Safemoon and get these guys and charge them everything, does that open the door to some of these other projects? Because Safemoon is by far not the only one that has ever done this in the history of this crypto space. Over the last few years, we saw tons of these things, and maybe it continues on from this, where this is the starting point, and at some point, maybe we see the influencers like the Jake Pauls and Dave Portnoys and these guys who promoted these things and probably got paid to do that. Maybe at some point they go after them too to try and make examples out of them. Who knows? For the SEC, they kind of break down a couple of things here that are kind of interesting. You can see this is basically them talking about what happened, saying the defendants promised to take the price of the token safely to the moon, but instead of delivering profits, they wiped out billions in market capitalization, withdrew crypto assets worth more than $200 million, and misappropriated investor funds for personal use. So these guys made a lot of money from this thing, about somewhere around $200 million. And obviously, this thing went to multi-billion-dollar market cap. They rug pulled it, took their money out, and collapsed the whole thing. But then they also go into what they misappropriated, like what they basically bought with this $200 million coming down here, where they say, however, as alleged, a large portion of the liquidity pool were never locked, and the defendants misappropriated millions of dollars to purchase McLaren cars, extravagant travel, luxury homes, and other things. So I don't think this is too surprising to see that they bought these kinds of things. That's what social media is all about, right? If you're not rich, just pretend to be rich to sell people the dream of being rich. So that's what you do. You got to look the part. So they buy the expensive cars, the super luxurious traveling options and travel destinations, luxury homes. They buy all this to appear like they're so successful. And that's all you have to do on social media to have people think you're smart. If you look successful, people will assume you're smart, when those two things don't have anything to do with each other. Just because someone is actually successful, not even a scammer or fraudster like these guys, even if someone's actually successful, it doesn't mean that they're smart in everything. Maybe they're smart in what they're successful in, but it doesn't mean it translates to everything else in the world just because they're successful. And also, I like this quote. They say, "Take it safely to the moon," because that was in someone's promo video. If you remember, Dave Portnoy said that whole talking point to go safely to the moon. And obviously, can't say that, right? You have this asset. You can't say, "Oh, we're gonna go safely to the moon. Everyone's gonna be rich," because in a world where everyone's rich, that means nobody's rich. So, the last thing here, they kind of break down what happened with these guys, how much Safemoon went up, and the market cap they got. Saying the SEC complaint alleges that Safemoon skyrocketed in price by more than 55,000% from March 12th to April 20th, 2021. That's crazy. And reached a market capitalization exceeding $5.7 billion before the price plummeted nearly 50% when the public learned that Safemoon's liquidity pool was not locked as claimed. So basically, these guys who created Safemoon looked at it, said, "This thing's up 55,000% in a few months." So, geez, what better opportunity than right now to take this money for ourselves, buy some McLarens, buy some mansions, and travel the world however we want. Oh, it's going to be so great. And if this thing just skyrocketed, might as well rug pull the whole thing. But the crazy part about all of this is that Coffeezilla, when he talked about this whole situation, was spot on. Everything he was saying was right. He was on the right track. And even though everything was right, the Safemoon people still said they were going to go after him or sue him because of defamation of what they were saying they were fraudsters, and they couldn't even imagine doing that. Fast forward a little bit, the SEC actually doing their job and showing like, wow, yeah, these guys really are scammers and fraudsters, and Coffeezilla was onto something. But if they didn't do this, then these guys probably would have won a case against Coffeezilla, which is crazy to even think about. We do got to ask ourselves, does this open up the door to obviously other crypto projects? I think it does, or maybe they're already looking into it, right? That could be the thing. All these other projects that were also involved in very similar things like Safemoon, because they saw how much money Safemoon made. And then it extends past that. Are we going to go after the influencers who are also involved in these things? Because that is a possibility to dissuade people from doing this again in the next few years. If a bull market goes off again, to stop people from doing the same things, go after a couple high-key influencers and punish them. And maybe that's what we're staring down. Maybe the people who were involved in this, Jake Paul's, Dave Portnoy's of the world, some of the celebrities, like the rappers, I think Lil Yachty was involved, Soulja Boy. These guys, if they get punished and they see jail time, it's a possibility. Maybe this opens the door to the whole thing going on, and maybe this will at least slow down, because nothing's going to stop scamming. People are always going to be scamming, but maybe it just slows it down, because it was absolutely rampant and still is kind of rampant when prices are going up, and it's just crazy to see it continuously go on, and it just needs to stop. Like, it's just so dumb to see all this happening and all these scams going on. If we could get rid of all of it, it'd be great. But that's never going to happen. But if you can at least punish it and make people think twice about doing it, that's at least a start. That's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next